It's Sunday, February 12th. I love killing kids. I love no police involvement.
I love the battlefield.
And everything about it.
Boom-de-yada, 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 boom-de-yada.
They are the heroes we deserve. They are terrible people. Veronica reviews Gotham City Impostors. Brian invades kingdoms of Amalur, determines his opinion of the game, then tells you about it like he's an expert on kingdoms of Amalurs or something. Wait, did you hear something? It's probably because our guest Rob Krekel put that in the game you're playing. Your ears are his slaves. Kneel before the Krekel. Hey, I want to start a Kickstarter to buy Double Fine a 2-story high party sub. Fund my vision. It's time for Game On!
WTF, LOL, we are on for Game On. I'm Brian Brushwood.
And I'm Veronica Belmont. Did you play the Mass Effect 3 demo? I did, and then I Twittered about it.
I know you did. You made me terribly jealous.
Well, first I Instagrammed it, and then I Twittered it.
You're a double dipper. This is terrible.
Oh, it was so good.
See, I would have played it, except for I've been on the road, of course, and it was not available on PC. It's Xbox only, right?
Well, the code that I had to give to you was Xbox, correct.
And?
It's good.
Beans?
I played as Femme Shepherd, as I like to call it. I named her Lady, so her name is actually Lady Shepherd.
You're very, very clever with the names.
I didn't go with the stock face. I know that people voted to pick the new stock face for Lady Shepherd, Femme Shepherd, sorry. Now I'm going to call her Lady Shepherd.
Lady Shepherd. No, I like that. She is a lady of the night.
So I created my own character, and it was really fun. The faces look great. I mean, they've always looked really good. They're getting almost a little too Uncanny Valley-esque now.
Like it's unpleasant how good they are?
I don't want to go and say unpleasant. I think it just takes some getting used to.
It's like watching that Final Fantasy movie now?
Yeah, a little bit, but it looks really great. The cutscenes, as always, look fantastic. The cover system, I was having a little bit of trouble with the cover system. It was definitely taking me some getting used to. Like, I spent a long time trying to figure out how to duck behind things and then come back up and shoot again, then duck behind again. And certain parts of the environment I couldn't stay hidden behind.
Now, you have...
So I was, like, trying to figure out what was working right for that scenario.
You, of course, have played the first two of them, right?
Oh, yes.
And is your initial vibe that the third one's going to be just as good?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the story elements are all there as usual. I mean, it's just a demo, so I haven't played through the entire game or even a substantial portion of it. But it looks really great. A lot of the characters we love are still there. I have to say, though, Ashley Williams was in my version, though, you know, if you played Mass Effect 2, you may or may not get Ashley Williams in your game.
Right.
She looks like she got major collagen implants in her lips.
That's...
It was like she had a little bit of work done.
Are you complaining about virtual work to a person who never existed?
No, I'm just saying.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't look that great to me. But otherwise, everything looks great. The music and the sound, as always, was fantastic.
I'll tell you.
And it made me really amped to play the game again.
It is an epic franchise, and I'm so curious to see where it goes, you know, half decade from now, because there's no way that this could just be over. But, of course, the show cannot happen without you guys. We record live every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern here at live.twit.tv. And make sure to tweet reactions to what we're talking about live as it happens right now to @TwitGameOn, and we will read them at the end of the show. We need stuff to work on. Otherwise, Chad doesn't get to talk, and he gets very, very sad.
He does get sad, and no one wants to see a sad Chad. No one wants to see that. And remember, when we're done, it's time to shut up and play. It's our LAN party where the cast and crew of Game On plays you, the viewer, using the magic of electricity. Tonight, we are playing Trackmania 2.
And because you were up all night building D&D profiles for each of the Beatles, here's this week's worth of news and the system update. We got a patent war! Blizzard filed a notice of opposition to Valve's trademark of the word Dota. Blizzard argues that the fan-created term originally referred to Warcraft 3, and Valve has yet to find a use for it despite registering it with the Patent and Trademark Office. Pre-trial procedures are beginning now, which is a fancy legal term for bespectacled men looking at papers and typing emails to each other. Let's just hope this gets settled before any release schedules are affected.
Hold your premature fire. 5 videos highlighting the awesomeness that is and will soon be Mass Effect 3 hit the web this week. Which gameplay elements went on display, like your cousin's new tramp stamp at the beach, building a customizable arsenal, integrated storytelling, ruthless and intelligent AI, as well as co-op multiplaying. ME3 shepherds itself into stores March 6. See what I did there?
Good news for Steam users who thought their billing information might have been stolen in last year's hack on the company database. Further investigation has still found no evidence that anything other than emails and encrypted billing information was stolen. All this according to a blog post by Gabe Newell of Valve. Although he stopped short of saying the info was definitely not stolen, you could probably check your credit card transaction history a few less times a day.
Even the sweetest tooth gets removed. Twisted Metal mastermind David Jaffe is bolting his current home at Eat, Sleep, Play to start his own development house. In an interview with Joystick, Jaffe spilled that he will stay on through March to correct bugs in the new Twisted, out this week, before starting anew in his hometown of San Diego. On his plate then, 4 concepts including a survival horror game, and a nap, and probably a sandwich. And by the way, thanks for telling us when you came on the show, David.
And the only story that really matters this week, Double Fine, shattering records on Kickstarter with their plea for monies to fund a point-and-click adventure game. They asked for $400,000, which would allow them to create and publish the game, as well as make a documentary of their journey. We're pretty sure they were disappointed when they saw the internet disagreed with their requested amount, instead making it range to the tune of $1.6 million and counting as we speak. The Kickstarter still has 30 days to go. The question is now, was this just a good idea or a simple little thought that can change everything we currently know about video game publishing? And I actually think that's a really good question to kick off a discussion here. Is this the beginning of a new trend? Are we going to see the death of the traditional video game publishing model? Or is this a one-off based on how much people love Double Fine production, and especially Tim Schafer for all of the titles in the past, like Psychonauts, Full Throttle, Day of the Tentacle, Grim Fandango, Brutal Legend? Is this payback for that he's been owed, or is this an indication of things to come?
I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, because we're definitely seeing that shift, like with Louis C.K.
Yes.
For example, he had his whole thing funded through Kickstarter as well. A lot of people are turning directly to Kickstarter to say, hey, we want to bring this huge, awesome, creative project directly to you, the fans, the viewers, whatever, and people are willing to put good money into their hands to do that. Of course, Kickstarter does take a little bit of change from that as well. They get some of that money, you know, for hosting those kinds of not auctions, I guess. I don't really know what to call them. Fundraising.
Right. Reverse
pages.
auctions.
Yes,
Sure.
reverse
Yeah.
auctions.
Yeah.
And, but I'm so excited for Double Fine with this. I think this is going to be huge for them, and I love that they're going the totally independent route.
Yeah, well, and first of all, let me be absolutely clear. I remember playing Full Throttle from beginning to end like 2 or 3 times over. Day of the Tentacle I played when I was in college. Nothing but abject love for these guys. I was viscerally angry when Psychonauts was not a commercial success. And so I am so happy that this happened. But like the Louis C.K. thing, I don't want to pretend, I don't want to put on utopian glasses and pretend like this is the end of a traditional model. The reason that so many people love Tim Schafer is because he was able to get so many titles published under traditional publishing. Same thing with Louis C.K. He's standing on his popularity from HBO, and it's great that he was able to put out something direct to consumers and that they were able to respond so positively. But this is far from being the kind of thing where it's just, it's a brave new world and everything's fine. But I will say this, that the video had to be written by Tim.
He is a phenomenal writer. He's a great, hilarious writer.
If you haven't seen it, the whole video is about 4 minutes long. Let's just look at the first minute here. Chad, can you roll that? This is from the Kickstarter here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. You caught me indulging in one of my many impressive hobbies. I'm Tim Schafer, and I'm a man of many passions. Drumming, skydiving, like charity or something. But one of the things I'm most passionate about is making games. And one of my favorite types of games to make is adventure games. But these days it seems like adventure games are almost a bit of a lost art form. They exist in our dreams and our memories and in Germany. People come up to me all the time and they say,
you should make a point-and-click graphic adventure.
You know, I would, except...
Adventure games are not dead!
Okay, I'm on your side, but if I were to go to a publisher right now and pitch an adventure game, they'd laugh in my face.
But I have money and I'd buy a copy.
Well, that's nice, but unfortunately, it's not enough money to make a game.
But there's a ton of people out there that are just like me. They'd buy one too.
I wonder if that's true.
Dude, it's totally true. There's so many people
talking to you. What if there are a lot of adventure game fans out there who want an adventure game? I wonder if there's some way that I could talk to them directly and cut out publishers altogether.
I love the scuttle, the bobbing scuttle off screen. That's the best.
Well, it makes me really wonder, like, are they ever going to go back to traditional publishers after
I hope
this?
they never
or is this
have
just
to.
going to be the way they do
If it were
things
up to me,
from
I
now
would
on?
fund him out of my own pocket forever. He is magic gold made a man incarnate.
Well, speaking of Tim Schafer, he is going to be on our show next week in a live interview, so we will have him here. What is the date for that? The 19th?
Yep,
Yeah,
1 week from today,
he's going to be on the show on the 19th, you know, regular showtime. He's going to talk all about what he's doing over there with this whole project, and hopefully we can hear more about what they're working on. I'm very, very excited for that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'm no hero. Then again, neither are the characters in Gotham City Impostors, so we got along pretty well. Where did they get those wonderful toys? We find out in the score. All right, so the title basically says it all. You play as masked vigilantes. You're trying to fill the void left by Batman. Batman has disappeared, and so now you've got the Jokers with a Z and the Batmans, or the Bats. I think they're called.
With a Z, really?
The Jokers have a Z for sure.
No, they respect. Absolutely. Wait, these are guys who are going to impersonate either heroes and villains, and they respect the copyright trademarks. Is that the basically the
you know
thinking?
how it goes. It's very Team Fortress 2-y.
See, okay.
I definitely got that vibe from it. There's a lot of humor built in. The characters are pretty funny. There's some great cutscenes in the beginning when you're learning how to do the different classes and learning how to use the different gadgets and weapons and all the other fun stuff that they throw in. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, first of all, I just rewatched Kick-Ass, and it's like more,
yeah,
as I'm watching Kick-Ass, I was like, I want to play Gotham City Impostors so bad. I love the idea of it, like Ghetto Batman and Ghetto Jokers is awesome. Is it just multiplayer only? It's all just arena combat? Or I had the impression it was going to be some kind of like RPG-style progression to get cooler and cooler equipment.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Not that I saw in any of the gameplay that I did. I mean, you've got Team Deathmatch, you have Psych Warfare, where you like demoralize enemies with propaganda. Like you go around and find like, you know, loud things that make noise. It's kind of confusing. And Fumigation, where you actually capture gas blasters and then you attack the other team. You try to get to them before they have a chance to gas you out of the map. The maps are kind of on the small side. I actually talked about this with Glenn a little bit before the show. He likes that Team Fortress 2 is much more expansive. This feels a little bit more contained right now, at least in the maps that I played.
Yeah.
So that can be good when you're just learning. You want to get the lay of the land pretty quickly. But once you go past a certain level, you want to have a chance to explore a little bit more, find your own places in the map, to carve out your own niche.
It's not like being able to explore all of Arkham City or anything like that.
Right, no, it's definitely not a huge open map style kind of thing the way Arkham City
Part of me doesn't mind that just because the very scope of being a bunch of, you know, local thugs pretending to be Batman, it makes sense for that to be a small scale, but I can see how once you filled up that fishbowl, you'd look for a bigger adventure.
Absolutely. But what is very cool is that there's tons of DLC. I mean, there's a lot of DLC. You can unlock different weapons, mods, costumes, different loadouts. That's just from leveling up. But then if you want to take it to the next step, you can actually buy stuff either through the Steam store or through Xbox or PSN. Yeah, this is on all platforms, by the way.
So this is more of our discussion about buying in-game
I definitely was thinking about that discussion when I was playing the game. You get tons of great goodies. You even get little like floating characters that sit behind you and kind of hang out with you while you're playing. So yeah, I'm still, you know, in the process of unlocking a lot more stuff. I'm having a good time with it. I don't know if it's going to be something I go back to all the time. I definitely feel like there are some limitations, and I don't know if the classes are distinct enough. They're not really speaking to me. Like I haven't found a class yet that I'm like, oh, this is what I want to play as going forward. But yeah, it's only $15. It's not that much of an investment.
Holy cow.
And it's really fun. I think they're hoping to make most of their money off of the DLC, I would imagine.
So at $15, it's a buy or don't buy.
Yeah, I would say buy. I would say buy, try it out. You know, get some of your friends together, have some fun with the humor in the game, test out some of the different weapons.
I'll tell you what.
Doing the costume creation is really fun.
It's one of those things where it's like when the barrier to entry is only $15, like, yeah, go ahead and buy it. Even if you don't like it, you'll get an evening out of it, right?
I spent more money this week on, what is that game I bought? I bought this game where you basically like lay out like bus routes and like train tracks. I can't even remember the name of the game. Dan Stapleton recommended it to me. I was like, man, I really wish I could play something, you know, I want a new Sim City. I want a game just like that. He was like, oh, try this one.
Wait, was it Ticket to Ride?
No.
Oh, okay, because Ticket to Ride is awesome.
Cities in Motion, thank you. It was Cities in Motion.
Oh, my God. No, I will say that Ticket to Ride is awesome. I've been playing it on the iOS. It came out recently.
Yes,
maybe we'll do an addiction on that. But yeah, I've been playing Kingdoms of Amalur, Kurt Schilling's game. Yeah,
very cool.
And first of all, let me make it very clear that that I am not somebody who, in general, would play games about goblins and wizards. I tend to be more sci-fi in the aesthetic of what I like. But I will say that the combat dynamic is intensely satisfying. I absolutely dug the. God of War never came out for PC. It was a PlayStation-only title. But I played it. What little of it I played seems very, very similar to the action in Kingdoms of Amalur. And being a PC gamer, I haven't experienced that a lot. So that was very novel and very new to me. I will say it's very, very heavy on a lot of different stories. There's a few things that I had never seen before, and they're minor things. Like one thing is when you initially pick your faith, you get different benefits based on what god you worship. But then there's one that says no god. Like, hey, bro, believe in yourself. Get +1 your own XP.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, bro. It's the frat boy god.
But I'll tell you, I just believe in myself and beers.
Exactly.
And beers, man.
Exactly. And I don't care how cliche it becomes. When you get in the groove of the XP multipliers and you go into reckoning mode and you just start laying waste to everything around you, you do your killing move, and then you start slamming on the mouse one button to get, 25, 50, 75, 100% XP bonus. It is epic, and it's completely fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed it. And for being a genre that I'm not normally a big fan of, the gameplay dynamic was exquisite, and it reminded me a lot about Borderlands. When I first started Borderlands, it just wasn't sticking with me until I got the gun lust, as they call it over at the PC Gamer magazine. And once you get the gun lust, it becomes about getting a better gun and kicking more ass. I started to get that with some of the different crafting items, and I'm not somebody who normally loves crafting or any of that crap, and I barely did it in Skyrim at all. But it was fantastic in this game. See, you're a crafter.
I'm a crafter.
You crafty crafters. But having said all that, I played on the PC side, and when I talk to people who played it on console, I get a very different story. Folks over on console didn't have some of the issues I had. For me, a lot of the key bindings were just silly. They didn't, as many people dinged Skyrim on the UI, at least most of the buttons did what you expected them to do.
What did people, I don't even remember people complaining about
just how many menus there were to get. It was tedious to move stuff around. Of course there's going to be a lot of menus. Right, but Kingdoms of Amalur takes it even a step farther. You have to hit escape and go out to the main menu every time you level up. Then you got to select level up. You got to go, if you hit escape, go to inventory, select your armor, select not the old armor,
the inventory
but
that
the
we're
new
looking
armor.
at right now. I didn't love that.
It just felt like somebody there made the decision like, oh, well, that's how these are handled. And then no more thought was put into it. And there's one thing that's absolutely unforgivable. And I'm serious. This is something I'm going to say not just for this game, but for all games in general. It is unacceptable to not have a decent autosave system. I lost 40 minutes of gameplay because I was lost in the game rather than thinking about hitting F5 every time I defeated a bad guy. It was so frustrating. I almost just gave up on the game right there. But I'm glad I stuck to it. I think if you're somebody who likes God of War type play, if you're somebody who likes fantasy, this is going to treat you right. This is not the kind of game I would have bought, but having said that, I'm glad that I'm playing it.
I'm seeing a lot of people making God of War / Fable comparisons.
Yes.
To this game, and I kind of saw that as well when I was playing the demo and the beta. But I enjoy it so far. I think it's really fun. I think it looks really nice, and it's a story that I kind of want to get more involved with. So I'm going to give it a chance. Are you going to keep playing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I got the XP gun lust now, so I'm going to keep on playing. But again, that autosave thing, it's got to go. There's got to be some other.
Is it a buy or don't buy?
I'm going to say if you're somebody who likes that kind of thing, absolutely buy it. If you're somebody who is a sci-fi guy, just wait another couple weeks for Mass Effect. That's what I would do.
Also, just remember to save. Just remember to save once in a while. It's just
obsessively.
Good practice.
Save obsessively. Kings of Amalur Reckoning is available now for PC, Xbox, and the PlayStation 3. Oh my God, how does time fly? We're already halfway done with this hootenanny, but we got more coming up on the way. Veronica chats up Soundmaster Rob Krekel about creating the oral pleasure, that's AURAL, for games like Uncharted 3, and take that! We're going to walk down memory lane with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which you can now play on iOS. So with that said, take it away, Veronica.
Hey everyone, sorry, I totally got into your shot when I was scooting over here. I was like, gotta run!
It was a fast magic trick. I was just
We're very fortunate that this set is close. So Rob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you, of course, do sound design for video games, amongst other things. What have you worked on lately?
Right now, I'm actually working on Starhawk. I'm helping those guys to finish up the game and just contributing a little bit here and there for those guys. And then before that, I helped out at the end of Twisted Metal for
nice.
Jaffe. So, yeah, after Uncharted, I've been kind of bouncing around between various projects at Sony, just helping out where I can.
Tell me about the experience of working on Uncharted.
Dream come true.
Good answer.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's pretty much every sound designer's dream is probably to work on guns and explosions, that or Star Wars. And I got to work on Star Wars at my last job, so Guns and Explosions was the next one on the list. And it was amazing. Naughty Dog is super, super talented. They make amazing games, and it's really a treat to work on them.
You know, I have to say, I went to school for audio production, so your job was one that I was hoping to do one day. So getting to talk to you right now is really exciting because I'm actually getting to see what a professional does, what kind of tools they use, and then, of course, we all get to enjoy the end product. So what tools in particular do you use in your day-to-day?
Day-to-day, as far as sound creation, it's all Pro Tools. It's kind of the industry standard around pretty much everywhere. Various people use different tools here and there, but for the most part, it's Pro Tools. But that's sort of where the sound creation ends and the design or implementation begins, and the tools for that are numerous and varied. It depends on which studio you're at. Everything's different. You kind of have the same ideas, but most of it's proprietary. I couldn't even tell you the name.
Man. Is there a lot of Foley involved, or is it all just digital?
Oh, no. I mean, there's tons of Foley. We try to do it whenever possible, honestly, because having brand new sounds in a game is super important, and it makes it just sound alive. And just for instance, like in Uncharted, there's a really small moment when you're in the garage in London, and Drake can go up and wiggle the doorknob. And rather than just cut in a stock doorknob, I went and just recorded the doorknob in my office here. Because, I mean, it's fresh. I performed it, so the timing was matched up, and it makes it sound so much better when you have something fresh in there.
So do you just get your microphone and just hang out in your office and just do it over and over until you get it right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I ended up doing, yeah.
Nice. I know you've also worked on a lot of independent video projects and film projects. How is that different from working on video games?
It's hugely different. I mean, there are similarities, obviously, like making sounds themselves is, like I said, in Pro Tools. Working for video, though, it's linear. It's a linear medium. So you make a sound and you cut it to the picture, and the timing is the same every time somebody watches it. You don't have to worry about somebody dying and then having to watch it again or anything like that. So that's something you really have to worry about with games is variety because of repetition. You really have to make one awesome sound. You probably have to make 4 or 5 variations just in case the player sees it over and over again. The other thing that's completely different is, again, implementation, just getting that sound out of Pro Tools and into the game and having it play back the way you want it to play back is a challenge sometimes.
How is that a challenge? Like, what changes going from your Pro Tools setup into the actual game box?
Well, basically, when I build it in Pro Tools, I'm basically assuming a certain perspective or a certain way that the characters or player is going to interact with the sound. But players have total control in games, and they can kind of do whatever the heck they want. So you have to set up the sounds to work based on where the player is at any given moment, and that is just a very difficult task sometimes, especially in a game like Uncharted, where you have extremely cinematic moments that may actually, in fact, change timing based on how well the player is doing. When you're trying to keep sounds synced up, that can be very, very difficult. In the chateau level, for instance, when you're at the end, spoiler alert, when you're at the end of that level and you're running on the roof as everything's collapsing around you.
Drove me crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
It's hard, but in fact, it actually it will go slower if you die continually, and it actually slows down the animations and everything slows down. And to keep the sound in sync is really tough. We have to really get granular with a lot of the sounds, which is very different than film, because film, you just, hey, the tower's collapsing, cut it in, boom, you're done.
So is that how I finally beat that level? Was it actually slowed down for me?
Potentially, yeah.
That's even worse than saying there's no Santa Claus. You're over there
Yeah,
we slowed the game down for you,
I thought
Veronica.
I got really awesome because I had to do it so many times, but no, they just slowed it down for me a little tiny bit. You don't even notice. Just suddenly you're that much better.
It's very, very granular. It's not a huge slowdown, but it's enough to help you out, hopefully.
You're just saying that to make me feel better now, I have a feeling. That's okay.
Maybe
it's
a
okay.
little bit.
It's okay. So when you're playing a video game, what games out there have you been like, wow, the sound design or the sound in general is just really fantastic? Who do you admire in that space?
In games, I mean, the guys up at DICE that do the Battlefield games, I mean, there is none better. Those guys just really do a fantastic job at representing war as like a realistic thing. The other studio that really does a fantastic job is the guys at Visceral who do Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 1 have really fantastic audio. And I definitely look up to those guys. I actually know a couple of those guys as well from my time at EA. Mm-hmm. But we also, as sound designers in games, like I get inspiration from movies all the time. I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without Ben Burtt and Star Wars, and that's kind of why I went down the path I did. He's really the biggest inspiration, probably.
So speaking of movies, and Ben Burtt in particular, I know that among movie sound designer, the Wilhelm scream was sort of an inside joke that eventually blew up and everybody became familiar with it. Do you guys have anything that's so cliche as far as video games go, or some kind of in-joke that you guys have?
There's definitely no in-joke. I mean, the Wilhelm scream is definitely found in video games just as much as it is in movies, and I think that's more of a sound designer thing, not necessarily movies versus games, but again, we're all trying to pay homage to Ben, I think, when we stick that thing in there. We try to get a little more creative with the implementation. It's not so on the nose. Like, do
you know some secret implementations of the Wilhelm scream that you can share?
Oh yeah, I know. I've done it myself.
Oh, dude, spill the beans. Where did you sneak it in?
Well, in Clone Wars Adventures that I worked on, I actually made there's a battle droid animation where it dies in the tower defense game. And so I processed it the same way that the battle droids are processed. So unless you're really sharp-eared, you're not really going to tell the difference between the normal scream and the Wilhelm scream, but it's in there. And that's just sort of a little Easter egg. And it felt really appropriate because it's Star Wars.
Yeah. There it is.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. That sounds about right.
Classic.
Nice. Now we have a question from one of our viewers over on Reddit. Jay Coogan wants to know, I'd like to know what skills you think are necessary for a sound designer for games in today's industry. If you want to get into this field, what kind of skills should you have going in?
If you want to get into the games industry, you really need to know games. That's a super important part, often overlooked. You can't really just come in as a film guy and be successful in games. Without context. You really need to understand the way games work and just the theory behind them, and then how the difference between film sound and game sound is all about gameplay is chief, and you kind of have to support it. But in terms of real technical skill, if you're a good sound designer, like if you have chops in that way, that doesn't hurt either. But really, you just need to understand games. That's really a skill that takes a lot of time.
And how did you get involved? What did you first work on to get into the games industry?
My story is pretty rare and pretty unique. Like, I got very lucky. I've always loved games, and I've always kind of had an idea that I wanted to do sound. And so when I was in college, I kind of saw the logical conclusion of the two coming together. But I actually just made a demo reel. I took the infamous 2005 video of Killzone 2. That was it real? Was it gameplay? Was it not? I took that video and I stripped all the sound out of it and redid it. Whoa. And then when I was done, I put it up on an internet forum asking for just feedback, advice. How can I make this better, basically. But from that, I actually got called from the audio director at EA Chicago at the time, and he said, "Hey, I saw your demo reel online. Do you want to interview for our junior position?" Which wasn't even posted online, so I didn't even know they were hiring. So, I did a couple sound tests for those guys, interviewed out in Chicago, and got along with them real well, and I got the gig there.
Nice.
My first game was Def Jam Icon, which not exactly my style in terms of music or games, but it was really a awesome game to work on for sound designer, because this game's all about sound.
There you go. Yeah, what a great example. So I have to ask, is that your own home studio you've gotten there, or are you at work right now?
He's actually on the Enterprise. I'm almost certain of this.
Yeah, right. No, I wish it was, but no, this is my office at Naughty Dog, actually.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's a working weekend. I've been working all day yesterday. I was working today before this, so. Good
secret projects you can't tell us about just yet?
Yeah, one of them is a secret project. I actually thought it was going to be announced by now, but things change very rapidly in that regard. And I've also been working on some Starhawk today. They're coming to the end of their development, so and plus they have the public beta, which is getting patched and updated pretty consistently.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Rob. Where can people follow you online?
You guys can follow me at Rob Krekel, all one word, on Twitter. Feel free to ping me with questions. I'm always trying to help out younger sound designers or people who are interested in it. That's the best place to reach me. I'm on Twitter probably more than I should be.
Well, I'll come to you for some questions if I decide for a career change at some point. If I want to get back into the sound industry. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Brian, it's all yours.
All right, so what is the point of saving the world if the person trying to destroy it totally sucks? We pay homage to the best villains of all time in this week's Lead Sheet.
Initiate countdown.
And now it's time for the best video game villains of all time. Number 5, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI. Warped by the power of Magitech, Kefka seeks to destroy the world by harnessing the power of dormant espers. Why? No particular reason. He's a nihilist dude. He doesn't believe in anything. Well, he does have a few beliefs. He believes mercy is for wimps. He believes in white face paint. He believes in flamboyant suits that would make the mincing spirit of Freddie Mercury blush. And most importantly, he believes in creepy laughs that oddly sound like dubstep. Number 4, Dr. Wily, Mega Man series. Ooh, look at me. I'm a brilliant robotic engineer that can't seem to have any better purpose in life than to design an increasingly complex series of killing machines to murder one baby-faced man robot. Overcompensate much? I understand kicking sand at someone you have a crush on in the schoolyard, but this is a little over the top. Don't you think, Wily? Why don't you just admit to yourself that your fixation on Mega Man is unhealthy? Create a robot with the same supple bone structure and kiss his little cheeks until you cry yourself to sleep at night. Weirdo. Number 3, Arthas, World of Warcraft. This psychopath started off so promisingly until he was infuriated by a hail of falling rose petals and murdered his kingly father so he could assume his throne. Okay, there's more to it than that, but still. Artie eventually merged with the Lich King to become one of the greatest forces of evil Azeroth has ever known. But one really has to ask, could this all have been avoided if his daddy had been a little more supportive? Take note, fathers, if you don't give your son the attention he deserves, there's a fairly good chance he'll utilize a cursed rune blade to lead an army of the undead in a campaign of fire and death. Maybe instead of issuing decrees all day, you could have played a little catch. Would have saved us all a lot of hassle. Number 2, GLaDOS, Portal. This withholding, two-faced AI menace stormed into our hearts, promising freedom and cake, only to rip it out and throw it through an infinite portal loop. But the worst part about GLaDOS is how much we really enjoy being with her. Sure, she's mean and insulting and fairly bent on trying to turn you into a twitching corpse, but gosh dang it if she isn't so witty. Oh, GLaDOS. No matter how much you push us away, our love for you is still alive. Number 1 is Bowser from Mario Brothers. He's a walking dragon that belches fire and procreates like a Mormon. But there is a savvy side to this scaly menace, real estate acumen. Mushroom Kingdom has never seen a creature with these kinds of buying habits. While Mario was busy squeezing his oily face through pipes and wondering if the Tanuki suit makes his butt look big, Bowser was snapping up castles like a fat dude at an all-you-can-eat omelet stand. There are 3 rules when it comes to imprisoning royalty. Location, location, location.
You know what? If I was a cynic, I would say that that list was specifically meant to be troll bait to encourage people to say what they disagree with at Twitter, at TwitGameOn. And first of all, we should point out that that came from you guys. We want to give a special thanks to Slum Somali, Vincent404, Ryan Nims, Chris Suit33, Bob Callie99. And remember, you can contribute to the show at our subreddit, twitgameon.reddit.com. But as I said, if you thought we totally spaced on a baddie, hit us up right this minute at TwitGameOn with your correction. I'll go ahead and start you guys off. GLaDOS, number 2? Really? Putting number 2?
Adra in the chat room is going to punch a kitten now because we made Bowser number 1.
Oh, my God.
So, hide your kittens. Hide your kittens.
All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. You don't think the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is a classic on any platform? Overruled. We'll check it out on the iOS in this week's App Diction.
Oh, hey, could I get some honey for this?
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I can't believe you recommended Phoenix Wright. That game was terrible. I started playing at 6 p.m. and was done by 8 p.m. with enough time to watch the new episode of Justified on FX. What a ripoff.
But Phoenix Wright is awesome. I missed the Courtroom Manga Classic on the DS, but I purchased it from the App Store just so I could get ready for the re-release.
Wow, it took me a lot longer to finish it.
Well, maybe you're just dumb.
Objection! You said you finished the game at 8 p.m., but according to TV Guide, Justified doesn't begin until 10 p.m. How do you account for the 2-hour time difference?
Now that I think about it, it wasn't Justified. It was Die Hard. Yes, the Die Hard movie where Timothy Olyphant plays the main villain that always plays on FX, Die Hard 3. That's what was playing at 8 p.m.
Take that! Die Hard 3 features Jeremy Irons as the main villain. You're thinking of Die Hard 4 with Timothy Olyphant. You're having a hard time keeping your story straight.
Not so fast, Brushwood. I did finish at 8 p.m. And then I watched an episode of Deadwood on Netflix instant streaming.
Deadwood definitely stars Timothy Olyphant. And if she watched it on Netflix, then it could have started at any time.
Well, maybe I am dumb.
You can't let her win, Brian. There has to be a piece of evidence somewhere that'll poke a hole in her story. Also, here's your honey.
Shut up! Netflix instant streaming doesn't have any HBO shows, so it would be impossible for you to watch Deadwood at any time.
Fine! I didn't play the game.
Don't worry, you have time. Right now, you can get a direct port of the DS Classic for only $4.99 on your iOS device. It is awesome. It's like an old-school adventure game played out in a courtroom drama in the style of a Speed Racer-type anime.
And the best part is this week they announced that you'll soon be able to get a remastered version of the first 3 games in the series. Still, revisiting an old classic was totally worth the coin. So what were you doing that kept you from playing?
I stayed up all night writing Timothy Olyphant fan fiction. He's dreamy.
Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is available for $4.99 on iOS, but if you hold out, we have some Android love for you guys. A remastered version for every incarnation of the game is coming soon to iOS and Android. Are you thinking about Timothy Olyphant? He's so dreamy.
He is pretty dreamy. No, seriously, that was really fun.
That was awesome.
So, is that the smell of digital gasoline mixed with the sweat of a champion? Must be time for our LAN party. Shut up and play. So, Glenn, heard you lost a little bet last week. Little betsy-wetsy.
Yeah, that may indeed be true, which may have something to do with me wearing this knit cap here.
It's not just that cold in here, no.
Hardcore, we'll be seeing the highlights coming up, but Brian stomped me in Street Fighter 2. But I feel like Greg here at TWiT got some avenged me. With,
what are we up to this week?
This week, we've got Trackmania happening tonight. But for next week, Sunday, the 19th of February, everyone should email me at twitlamparty@gmail.com because we're bringing back Team Fortress 2. Veronica wants to learn the ins and outs of the game. We are all going to help her by fragging her mercilessly. And if you want to get in on that, twitlamparty@gmail.com. Hit us up for next week. And tonight, our grudge match, Brian, we're rematching Mario Kart 64.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the stakes are going to be for tonight. Oh, that's right. We said that loser's going to have the other person pick their Twitter avatar.
Yes.
All right. It's been years. It's been like a half decade since I played Mario Kart. This may end badly.
I have played it very recently, actually.
Oh, are you going to stick around?
I am still awesome.
You going to jump in?
I may jump in.
All right.
I may have
Look
to.
forward to it.
I'll tell you what, though. Can we roll footage on how I owned your ass last week? Come on.
Enjoy it, Brushwood. Enjoy it. Now we're starting for real. Best out of 7.
You got it.
First to 4 wins.
Oh!
Wow! What move was that? What was with like the drunk playing and shit earlier, and now he's just like brings it up? What was that?
Sorry,
was
dude.
that full? Jesus Christ! 4-1.
Hey man, where's that razor?
Okay, I lost fair and square.
It's a BB right there. Who? Greg who?
Right behind the board.
Oh, yeah?
A challenger.
Let's do this.
Can I just get drawn on?
On the face. On the face.
All right, that's fine.
Drawn on the face.
Yeah, I'll give up a spike. A spike, you could cut off the spike of your choosing if I lose. No! No! Oh, God, here it goes. Oh my God.
Oh, no.
They taped that spike up against the wall. And I would like to point out that those were my initials shaved in the back of Glenn's head, and that you guys could join us in an upcoming grudge match. And of course, there wouldn't be a LAN party if it weren't for Doghouse Systems, our BFFs over there. They are the company that provided those kick-ass gaming machines that we're playing on tonight and every Sunday night. In fact, they only make kick-ass machines. If there's an ass, they will kick it. So when you're ready to level up, use the code GameOn at checkout, and they'll double your memory for free. You'll remember so much more. Just click on the banner ad on our TWiT homepage to learn more about the Double Your Memory promotion.
I highly encourage our audio podcast listeners to take a look at that video because it was pretty. It was pretty disturbing to see your little
pretty
that
epically
spike,
awesome.
Like,
people were asking
gone.
why I didn't play as Guile, because obviously that's where the idea for my idiotic hairstyle came from. And the answer is in an effort to totally stomp Glenn, I picked random every time. I didn't even pick one of my favorites.
Oh, nice.
So I owned you legitimately, sir.
You gave yourself like a handicap.
That's right. Well, sure.
A little bit of a handicap.
I got lucky. I kept picking Blanca, which was good for me.
Well, now it is time to see what our heroic sword-wielding viewers had to say. Let's shoot it over to Chad and see if he's got any feedback for us.
Thanks, you guys. Underscore Luke says, best video game villain, Dracula in Castlevania. Come on, where is the love? I blame at Veronica.
I am a Belmont. I should know these things.
Oh, my God, yes, of course. I didn't even think about that. Bowser? We picked Bowser? I don't know.
Blame the Reddit. They helped.
You can get run over by a truck. I mean,
Bowser is pretty. He's classic. He's epic.
Against Gladys? Gladys? She was in a potato and she still kicked everyone's ass.
Yeah. The chat room was not happy about some of our suggestions. But that's
all right.
why we ask for your feedback. Do we have anything else
We got
good?
plus one for Dracula from the chat room.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
We have another really good worst game enemy. This one's from Jay Pierce off of Twitter. He says the worst game enemy in history, that would be that damn dog from Duck Hunt.
Oh, my God.
Soul-crushing
Hate
laugh.
that dog.
That should have been it. He's not even the enemy. I'd like to think he's like the puppet master of all the birds. And then he gets up there and giggles at you.
You know, I was actually pretty surprised that Ganon wasn't on the list.
Yeah, and also we didn't put Sephiroth on there either, did we?
Yeah, Ganon, fighting Ganon in Ocarina of Time was probably one of the most epic video game moments I think I've ever had in my entire life. I actually had a room full of people at the time, like hanging out in my den, like after school one day.
And you lost your stuff.
And I was playing. I was like, "Shut up! Just everyone, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Be quiet! Shut up!" I was like turbo, like aggro, like trying to beat it. And but then it happened, and then there's all this like gorgeous cutscene afterwards, and you're just like, oh.
You know, there's actually one more suggestion from the chat room, and I will totally agree with this. Kane from the Command & Conquer series.
Yeah.
He was amazing. That guy, like, if you look at all the games, there's a decade between the first and one of the last ones where he's in, and the guy's not aged a day. I think whatever programmer actor is playing Kane literally is eating the souls of children. It looks so young.
Nice. All right, well, we want to thank Rob Krekel for chatting with us, and we'd also like to remind you that the Kickstarter king, Tim Schafer, will be joining us next week to talk about all his good stuff going on, so we will see you guys then.
Hard 3 features Jeremy Irons as the main villain. You're thinking of Die Hard 4.
That's the tape we're gonna.
Oh, good. We screwed nice. We screwed
Take
up
that!
so many times.
Die Hard 3 features Chim. Take that! Die Hard 3 features Jim.
No, you're good. They don't.
That's Veronica shooting me in the face, by the way.